Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of it. Commanders have the day off today. They are back at it in Ashburn tomorrow, and they will start getting ready for Atlanta this Sunday down in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, and 1 o'clock kickoff there. We'll get the maps tomorrow, which will let us know who the broadcast crew is going to be for that one. In tomorrow's edition, we will let you know. All right, so going back over the game yesterday, and several things to point out. Did a little bit of tape study today, going to do a little bit more tomorrow. Some of the things that I noticed, we talked about the offensive and defensive lines last night and how just to the naked eye, you could see the incredible push they were getting on both of them. But there were a bunch of folks there that stood out. On the defensive side of the ball, Bobby Wagner just had a huge game, and Frankie Luvu, who has been a little quiet here the first 2 weeks of the season, finally broke out. I think he wound up with 7 tackles overall, either solo or assisted. Daron Payne had a monster game. The stats tell it, but so does the PFF numbers. I'm pretty sure that his overall PFF number was close to 90. Easily the best game he has had in quite a while. And I still can't get over the great job that Chris Paul did on the offensive line. He started for Brandon Coleman. Basically, according to Dan Quinn, just kind of outplayed him. And because of that, he outplayed him in practice. Because of that, he got the start. The other thing that you had to notice on Sunday, was the special teams and also the offense when it came to explosive plays. There were tons of explosives in Sunday's game. It started with Deebo Samuel on the opening kickoff that he took 70 yards. Jalen Lane with the 90-yard punt return. Terry McLaurin hooking up on that long pass with Marcus Mariota that should have been called a touchdown, but it wasn't. That was over 50 yards. Luke McCaffrey getting in on the act with a 40-plus yard touchdown reception, and the long touchdown run. I believe that was Jeremy McNichols. I don't have the play-by-play notes in front of me. But the long touchdown run as well. And even Marcus Mariota's long run that, wound up obviously getting credit for the yardage, but the one that he made the fumble on. And that's what the point is. That's what you've got to see with this offense. It's what we saw last year, and it's what Adam Peters and the front office of the coaching staff made the huge investment in the offseason to make that offense even more explosive. So, first 2 weeks of the season, obviously, folks are kind of still getting into the rhythm of things. And I think that's kind of what you see. That's just the modern day NFL. Starters just don't play in the preseason anymore. That's used for evaluating your depth. So the first couple of weeks, it's going to take the first couple of weeks before you really start to see what kind of a team you've really got. Now, that can be a problem because you don't want to put yourself in a hole like, say, the Kansas City Chiefs did, starting at 0-2. It's kind of like going to the golf course and not hitting any balls on the range before you tee off. You're kind of scraping it around there for the first 4 or 5 holes, and you could tank your score if you're not careful. But give them credit. They were able to figure it out by Sunday rather, and here they are. They sit 2-1. Going to play a Falcons team that they should beat. We did not get a lot on Monday as far as injuries go from Dan Quinn. We got a little bit. One piece of really good news that the Commanders got was that Marshawn Lattimore is officially cleared concussion protocol. That is fantastic news because we didn't hear anything about Trey Amos on Monday. We don't know how significant his leg injury is. We do know that Will Harris is on injured reserve now for the next few weeks. He's got a broken fibula. They are hoping that he comes back sometime here this year, but there is no guarantee of that. Also, we didn't hear anything about Terry McLaurin and his injured quad. However, I don't know. I kind of what I'm hoping is that maybe because apparently he injured it on that long reception. When he was diving towards the goal line, hopefully he just kind of landed funny on the defender, because I thought he hit his shin on the defender as opposed to on the ground, and that's going to mean that maybe it's just some kind of really severe contusion, few days of rest, and he'll be good to go. But regardless, you want those guys to get healthy as soon as possible. Also, when it came to Jaden Daniels, all Quinn said was day-to-day. He talked around it again. He said, we'll know more on Wednesday. It'll be interesting to see, because I really think they could go a second week with Mariota at quarterback and still be okay. Why rush Daniels back from a knee injury, no matter how minor it is? Make sure he's 100% in change before you get him back out there, because dude is your franchise, and he's the guy that the fortunes are going to rise and fall on. As for Atlanta, as we said, they're coming off a pasting against Carolina. We'll get into them more starting tomorrow. Michael Penix, I don't know if you saw, but he was benched late in the game. Kirk Cousins came on. Are we going to see Cousins in the starting lineup, starting at quarterback? Be interesting to see. My guess is not that Penix will be back in, but it is not that is not a great outing that he's going to have to rebound from against a defensive front that is just really kicking on all cylinders right now. So I think it's another case of a really good chance for the Commanders to stack another win and be 3-1 as they come home for Monday night against the Chicago Bears in a couple of weeks. What do you think? Give me your final thoughts on the game against the Raiders. Michael Robinson, 7397, says, my quibble is, why did the defense change in the fourth quarter only to give up more than one touchdown? How is that a better defense? One mistake or bad call from the refs, the game could be much closer or lost. Fair enough, Michael. But one of the things I was thinking about, because, a couple of my friends texted me during the game too and said, why didn't they just keep everything in front of them, keep it simple in the secondary? Now, we don't know. All right. I am creating this out of whole cloth, but I think it's, with a lead that big, I think it's plausible to think maybe there were some things that Joe Witt wanted to see in the game, maybe things that they've had trouble with in the past, maybe things that they didn't quite nail down in practice, or maybe that they did nail down in practice, and he wants to see it play out in real time in a game. He's not 100% confident with it, but he said, with a lead like this, let's go ahead and use this coverage that we're kind of quote-unquote working on. Now, unfortunately, they got burned with it, but everything turned out all right because they came back. Luke McCaffrey caught that long touchdown run to ice the game. And I think they felt like the game, they still had control of the game, and it wasn't going to be going anywhere. Could it have bitten them in the ass? Yeah, it could have, but it didn't. I think you will see a much more solid. I think the defense will continue to get better this week. And the fact that they were able to stop the run the way they did against the Raiders, man, that makes me feel really, really good going down to Atlanta, where that it's going to be Bijan Robinson right, left, and up the middle. You're going to get a healthy dose of it. Let's see. Shout out at a custom painting, ground and pound until they make no sound. I like that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I wish that I could say that I came up with that myself. I got it from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. But hey, anytime you're quoting Deadpool is a good day. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's going to do it for us. We got to get on out of here. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Drop us a comment, your final thoughts on the Raider game, or what you think heading into Atlanta this Sunday. See you tomorrow. Remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.